Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines we're tracking this evening: the death toll in the Morbi hanging bridge collapse climbs to 135 after a man undergoing treatment at a Rajkot hospital succumbs to his injuries. The Gujarat police has so far arrested 9 people in connection with the collapse. The Supreme Court has agreed to hear a plea seeking a judicial probe into the tragic incident. Dalal Street hits the highest level in 10 months. The Sensex reclaims 61,000. The Nifty gains 130 points despite a decline across bank stocks. The rupee weakens marginally against the dollar. Auto companies report a mixed bag in October. While robust passenger vehicle and EV sales power Tata Motors, CV makers Ashok Leyland, tractor maker Escort see strong sales. Bajaj Auto continues to report weakness in the export market. RBI begins testing the digital rupee. 9 banks are using the digital currency starting today to settle secondary market transactions in government securities. HSBC is part of the pilot project. Its CEO Hitendra Dave confirms to CNBC-TV18 transactions have started taking place. Google pauses its payment policy for app developers after the Competition Commission order. Developers can now use third-party billing systems for in-app purchases. Google says it is reviewing its legal options. I'm truly sorry, says the founder of edtech company Byju's in a letter to employees after laying off 2,500 people, as there is a huge price to pay for walking on this path to profitability. The funding winter has led to a 61% drop in hiring by startups, according to a new study. 15% of companies are shifting to a partial gig workforce model, and payments to gig workers are up 153% amidst the slowdown in hiring permanent employees. Elon Musk fires the Twitter board, becomes the sole director days after buying the social media company. Later tweets that the arrangement would be temporary. Also proposes to charge a monthly subscription fee of $8 in a Twitter exchange with author Stephen King. Well, let's start with the day's market action. The Dalal Street hitting the highest level in 10 months as bulls maintain their winning momentum. The Sensex gained nearly 400 points and the Nifty put on about 100 points today. All of this despite a decline in bank stocks. Prashant Nair standing by to wrap up the market action for us. Continues to be strong for our markets, Prashant.
Well, it was a pretty good session for the market. The index cruising closer and closer to that all-time high level. There was some hesitation mid-session at about 18,100. Which I guess was the most traded sort of price point on the Nifty today. But by close, we sort of moved higher once again, almost at about 30 points short of the day's high. Banks underperformed. PSU banks have done very well. That pulled back. Private banks also lower. Axis and PNB, just to give you an example, one from the private space, one from the PSU bank space, which saw profit booking today. What was higher? Metals as a pack moved higher. We had pharmaceutical names and the government companies, the CPSE index, which did very, very well. A bunch of names. So on the Nifty, old economy names were all the rage. NTPC, Power Grid, Grasim, Divi's Laboratories was something which did well. And Adani Group stocks are back in focus. So Adani Enterprises and Ports both did quite well as part of the Nifty. The broader gains and advances outnumbered declines, not by a huge margin, but comfortably so. Varun Beverages, Adani Wilmar, NMDC, Renuka Sugars, CMS Info, Godfrey Phillips. Delivery was locked up 10%, and Circuit, after, of course, what has been a very damaging fall. Heidelberg Cements, JK Lakshmi, and something like a Gokuldas Exports doing very well as well. I mean, as of today's close, the Nifty is just 2.5% away from its previous all-time high of 18,604, which was made in October of 2021. So we're almost there. I mean, between now and then, you've got two things. You've got the ISM manufacturing survey out of the US tonight, and then you've got the Fed decision, which comes out tomorrow night, to which markets here will react on Thursday morning. A 75 basis point is priced in, but any talk that the pace of hikes will slow down from here, I think could propel the next move for markets. Back to you.
Prashant, many thanks for joining us. That's the market action for you and the triggers to watch out for. In the currency market, the rupee weakened marginally against the dollar after rising in early trade. Financial markets remained cautious ahead of the US Fed meeting, as Prashant was pointing out. $1 US continues to cost almost 83 rupees. Now, the price of a commercial LPG cylinder has been cut by 115 rupees. The 19-kilogram cylinder is largely used by restaurants and eateries. The cost of a cylinder in Delhi is more than 1,700 rupees. The government source is also telling CNBC-TV18 that reports suggesting that there is likely to be a 40 paise cut in petrol and diesel prices are not correct. The government has decided to increase palm oil import tariffs by 6 to 11%. The move is expected to aid farmers who are reeling from lower oilseed prices. US President Joe Biden has threatened to pursue higher taxes on oil companies if they do not try to lower fuel prices, calling their profits a windfall of war. Biden has warned if companies don't cut retail fuel prices, they will be made to pay higher taxes on their excess profit. And staying with that story, higher fuel prices that the US president is concerned about have aided British energy major BP to post another bumper quarter. The oil and gas giant has raked in profits of $8.2 billion in the third quarter. That's much higher than analyst estimates of $6 billion. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said food security has become an issue due to the shipping disruption in the Black Sea on account of the Russia-Ukraine war. A few months back, the UN had brokered a deal between Russia and Ukraine to allow the export of fruit grains, but that seems to have fallen apart. Speaking to the media, the finance minister said G20 members will have to discuss the sanctions against Russia and the food security issue specifically because of the spillover impact of Russia's decisions. Take a look.
Food security, which again today and since yesterday has become another point of discussion because of the disruption which is happening in shipping grains through the Black Sea. So these are issues which definitely are already there. So broadly, I would think these are the kind of issues with which we'll have to take the G20 forward. Members will have to talk about it. Actions taken at the early stages of the Russia-Ukraine war, whether it is a sanction on payment through the SWIFT or subsequently on the fuel trading. Yes, it has moved from one milepost to another. You hear less of some, you hear more of another. You also have probabilities of newer such things coming in. So these are spillovers of decisions. Those will have to be definitely discussed.
Well, that's the finance minister. Now shifting focus to the auto sector, it's been a mixed sales for the month of October. While Tata Motors, Escorts, Ashok Leyland have seen year-on-year growth, Bajaj Auto and Maruti Suzuki have seen a decline. Sonia standing by with the report card. Sonia, what do the numbers look like?
Well, thanks a lot for that. So, it was a mixed bag this time around for the auto sector. And let me begin with Tata Motors. As you rightly pointed out, very good growth coming in for Tata Motors in the passenger vehicle segment, specifically because of the big boost that came into the electric vehicle space. So, overall, Tata Motors sales growth was 15.5% year-on-year, led by the passenger vehicle sales, which was a growth of 33%. And here's the big kicker for Tata Motors. The EV sales went up 158% year-on-year, coming in at 4,277 units. In fact, the entire commercial vehicle pack has also improved. So Ashok Leyland and Eicher reported good commercial vehicle sales this time. Ashok Leyland total sales were up 34% year-on-year. Eicher Motors domestic commercial vehicle piece rose 14.2% on a year-on-year basis. And the other big pocket that moved this time, which was very strong, was tractors. Both Escorts and M&M reported cracker sales this time around. Escorts total sales were up 7.2% year-on-year, up 18% month-on-month, while M&M recorded its highest ever tractor sales in a single month, more than 50,000 units. Now, on the weaker side, exports have been under pressure as we know it, and that reflected in Bajaj Auto's numbers. So the total sales were down 10% year-on-year at 3.95 lakh units. Exports for Bajaj Auto were down 31%, and the management said it would take a couple of more quarters before the exports return to normalcy. And the other set of numbers that disappointed the street was Maruti. The total sales were down 5% month-on-month, coming in at 1.67 lakh units versus 1.76 lakh units last month. The management said that the numbers are not comparable year-on-year because same time last year there was a huge supply side issue due to the semiconductor shortage. So Maruti and Bajaj Auto disappointed the street. But X of that, commercial vehicle space, premium side of the market as well as tractors did very well in this month. Back to you.
Sonia, many thanks for joining us. Staying with autos, but on to electric vehicles. A good month for the electric vehicle space, with sales jumping 141% year-on-year. Ola Electric has sold over 20,000 units, followed by Ather Energy, which sold over 8,200 units. The sector is seeing strong demand from states like Kerala, Maharashtra and Karnataka. The electric two-wheeler segment witnessed record sales for the same month. Aviation advisory firm CAPA expects Indian aviation industry's losses to significantly rise to $2.5 billion, up from its earlier forecast of $1.4 to $1.7 billion. It adds over 75 aircraft, which is 10 to 12% of the Indian fleet currently grounded, and this is likely to impact financials of companies in the second half of the current fiscal. CAPA also expects supply chain issues to continue, which will impact new aircraft deliveries, resulting in a shortage of fleet. CNBC-TV18 News Break confirmed gross GST collections for the month of October coming in at 1.5 lakh crores, the second highest collection after April this year. GST collections have been above the 1.4 lakh crore mark for the past 8 months. On to earnings. Sun Pharma performing better than expected in Q2 despite weakness from Taro. Revenue is up 14% compared to the same quarter last year. The stock touched a fresh 52-week high. Nykaa's parent company, FSN E-Commerce Ventures, reported a consolidated net profit of over 5 crores for the second quarter of this fiscal. This is a 330% jump if compared to the same quarter last year. Revenues came in at 1,200 crore rupees. That's a 39% year-on-year increase. The stock surged over 3.5% in trade. RBI has begun testing the digital rupee. 9 banks are using the digital currency starting today to settle secondary market transactions in government securities. This is a pilot project and HSBC is participating in it. The CEO Hitendra Dave confirmed to me that the transactions have started taking place. Take a look.
No. So I think all you have to do is travel around the world to realize just how lucky we are, at least when it comes to payments and digitization, right? I mean, anywhere in the world, you cannot move small amounts like 50 rupees, 5 rupees, 25 rupees free of cost. You everywhere in the world, you see QR codes everywhere, the ability to make payments directly with, I want to make a payment to Shireen. I just need your mobile number. That doesn't happen in too many parts of the world, small shopkeepers or whatever. And that is the data, right? This is something which I think in the last 5-7 years, we've just leapfrogged the world. We've gone from being maybe behind the world to now at least being a generation ahead, and that's an advantage we must drive home. And as more and more people become digitally savvy, it opens up opportunities to the point you're making for businesses to be able to deliver goods digitally, electronically, receive money electronically or digitally, etc. Because the consumer is already used to it. We're talking about 6.7 odd crore UPI transactions in the month of August, which is like just enormously, or September, enormously large numbers or so. So I think it's there on digital currency. I'm very pleased to share that HSBC is part of the pilot that the Reserve Bank of India is carrying out. In fact, transactions have started taking place already as we speak. I know our team is undertaking the transactions that were listed in the announcement that was made yesterday. So yeah, I think digitization, the ecosystem that the authorities have created, open architecture, this has profound implications linked to the credit story that we spoke about, linked to the household income growth that we spoke about. And this combination, I don't know what more we could ask from the authorities on this count. I think it's now for us as the private sector to make sure we monetize on this really open architecture resource available to make sure we deliver better goods and services to our customers.
Any appetite for any M&A here in India, Hitendra? The government is looking at the possibility of putting some banks on the block.
I can answer that question directly in the sense because I know what you're alluding to, but I think you're aware that we are at an advanced stage of concluding our acquisition of Larsen Toubro's investment management division. So I think that's about literally 3 weeks from now or so, where we will merge the 2 units into one. We have an insurance company where we have a stake and where we are potentially examining whether we can discuss with our partner banks in terms of what the shareholding structure going forward should be. India is a very, very exciting market, and our management team and our board is clearly conscious of the opportunities here. I don't think we're going to say, yes, we are open to everything. We are not going to say we are close to anything. I think it will be case to case, but I'm almost certain that we will have more action in India than in many other parts of the world.
Well, that's HSBC's CEO Hitendra Dave, a CNBC-TV18 exclusive interview. Less than a week after the Competition Commission imposed a back-to-back fine on Google, the company has decided to pause its payment policy for all app developers. This will lead to developers using third-party billing systems for in-app purchases, at least for now. Shilpa Ranipeta joins us now with more. What does this mean now for Google, Shilpa?
Well, Google said in an update on its support page that it will now pause the enforcement that requires all app developers to use Google Play's billing system. Now, this is following the CCI order. But remember, this is only a pause now as Google reviews its legal options post the CCI order. It is also only in India. The requirement continues in other markets outside of India. Now, remember, this enforcement was set to come into effect today after Google announced in October 2020 that all developers selling digital goods and services on their apps are required to use Google Play's billing system, and the apps using an alternative in-app billing system will need to remove it and comply with the payment policy of Google. Now, this was then delayed to 31st of March of this year globally following backlash, and in India, Google had delayed that till the 31st, saying that it wanted to offer required support for recurring payments through systems like UPI and wallets, and also in the light of changes that were coming into India's recurring digital payment guidelines. Now, remember, this move, though not clear yet whether it's permanent change or not, is a shot in the arm for India's app developers and the startup founders, including the likes of Paytm's Vijay Shekhar Sharma, who have been speaking up against Google Store's policies and the commissions that Google charges on all the transactions that happen on an app. But remember, the CCI's order only directs Google not to force its own billing system and allow other payment gateways, and this does not impact in any way the commissions that Google charges on transactions. Back to you.
Shilpa, many thanks for joining us. And staying with news from the startup space, Baiju Ravindran, the founder of Byju's, has written a letter to employees after announcing that 2,500 of them will be laid off. After reporting losses of over 4,500 crore rupees, Byju's has promised to turn a profit by March next year. In his letter, Ravindran says, and I quote, "There is a huge price to pay for walking on this path to profitability." He went on to say, and I quote again, "I'm truly sorry to those who have had to leave Byju's. You are not just a name to me. You are not a number. You are not just 5% of my company, you are 5% of me," end of quote. Now, startup hiring trends have seen a 61% drop since October 2021. That's according to a study by Razorpay and X-Payroll. The study also suggests that amidst the slowdown in hiring permanent employees, payments to gig workers has seen a significant rise. Ritu joins us now to chalk up the latest. What are the hiring trends, Ritu? How are they shaping up?
Well, the hiring trends aren't surprising at all because amid the ongoing funding winter for startups and the layoffs that we've been seeing across the board, hiring of new permanent employees by these companies has slowed significantly, dipping by 61% in just the last 1 year. Now, a report by Razorpay X, based on the payroll data of more than 25,000 employees across the 1,000-plus startups, found that while the dip in hiring was across seniority levels, CXO hiring, that dropped by a massive 93%. Now, while hiring overall has been lower, hiring in technology, that is one area that seems to have been least impacted compared to others. Now, amid all of this, gig workers, they seem to be the flavor of the season, the preferred way to go for startups these days. Payments to gig workers, that saw a growth of almost 153% compared to last year. And the total number of enterprises who are moving towards a semi-gig workforce model, that has also increased by 15%. So who's most in demand? Well, semi-skilled workers that are earning less than 20,000 rupees top the list, and those earning more than 1.5 lakh are the least in demand as of now. Now, spends by startups on salaries, that has also increased by almost 65% when you compare it to last year. But salaries across different levels have been rising gradually, not so fast, at an average of 12%. But growth in salaries is very different when you look at different scales of gig workers. Now, the median salaries of the gig workers, they've only increased by less than 20% in the last 1 year. Lastly, while yes, the salaries are rising, they're not distributed very evenly across genders. Now, growth in salaries earned by males was higher at 29% compared to about 22% for women. And moreover, the salary gap seemed to get wider the higher one goes up the salary bracket. So this salary gap is accompanied with a lower participation of women in the workforce as well, because for every 2 men that were hired by startups last year, 1 woman only was hired.
Ritu, many thanks for joining us. That's the startup hiring trend and how that's shaping up for now. Time for us to enter a short break, but up next, the death toll in the Morbi hanging bridge collapse climbs to 135. That and more when we return.
What is the current status of our cyber robbery?
Little bit playing tricks.
Alluring them a little bit.
Tempting them a little bit.
After that, their all money will be ours.
Our little awareness can stop their laughter and cunning tricks. Do not use unauthorized apps, unknown links, and don't allow unsecured Wi-Fi connections. If something wrong happens, report the matter immediately on helpline numbers.
हमें जी? हाँ जी. कुछ लेंगे आप? कुछ.
पीली भुजिया, चना दाल, मसूर दाल, मूंग दाल, बेसन पापड़ी, मूंगफली दाना, काजू, किशमिश, बूंदी, इलायची, डंकोली, साबूदाना, कॉर्नफ्लेक्स यानी मक्कई पोहा, चिवड़ा, खीरा बीज, बेसन लगे मूंगफली दाना, हरा मटर, आलू लच्छा.
कुछ नहीं है ना? इसमें. तभी तो मेरे पास हमेशा बीकाजी कुछ होता है.
Amaji loves Bikaji, loves Bikaji.
My journey of insurance and investments began at the same time when I invested in LIC SEEP. In this fast-moving world, SEEP can balance your funds with security and growth. SEEP will take care of the ups and downs of the market and will give you fruitful results so that you enjoy the ride. And when SEEP is with you, you can soar high.
LIC's unit-linked insurance plan SEEP offers savings and protection so that you can soar high in your life. LIC, हर पल आपके साथ.
बिजली यहाँ बिल्कुल नहीं जाती.
इधर मच्छर बिल्कुल भी नहीं. कंस्ट्रक्शन बहुत तगड़ा है.
क्या भाई साहब, जो साइट विजिट ना दिखाए 99 एकर्स बताए. घर लेना हो या बेचना, एक्सपर्ट से ही पूछना. 99acres.com.
Fusion Microfinance Limited, a company founded with the core idea of creating opportunities at the bottom of the pyramid by providing financial services to unserved and underserved women in rural and peri-rural areas across India. Now offers an initial public offer of equity shares of face value of 10 rupees each. The 100% book-built offer being offered in a price band of 350 to 368 rupees per equity share. Opens on November 2nd and closes on November 4th, 2022. For risk factors and more details, refer to the red herring prospectus.
Death toll in the Morbi hanging bridge collapse has climbed to 135. This after a man undergoing treatment at a Rajkot hospital succumbed to his injuries. A majority of those who lost their lives in this tragic incident are women and children. The bridge was reopened just last week after being shut for maintenance for 7 months. The FIR highlights that Ajanta Manufacturing, the company in charge of maintenance, was bound by its contract to keep the bridge shut for at least 8 to 12 months for maintenance and repair. The police said that it was seriously irresponsible and careless to reopen the bridge after only 7 months. The Morbi civic body said that they had not issued a fitness certificate and claimed that they were unaware that the bridge had even reopened. The Gujarat police has so far arrested 9 people in connection with the collapse, but none who could possibly be in any position of accountability. The Prime Minister there at Morbi just arrived a few moments ago, taking stock of the disaster. Santhe Gora gets us the latest now from Morbi, where she has been reporting from through the morning.
On 30th of October, a suspension bridge located in Gujarat's Morbi area collapsed. The bridge, which was called Jhulta Pul, was made in British era and was always a tourist attraction. The bridge was closed 7 months ago for renovation, and the contract for the same was given to Ajanta Manufacturing Private Limited of Oreva Group. The bridge reopened on 26th of October, and on 30th of October, over 400 people gathered on the bridge and it collapsed. The tragedy has already claimed over 135 lives, and this is what happened on that fateful evening.
600-700 लोग थे झूलते पुल में, बहुत झूल रहा था और बीचों बीच गए और अचानक से पुल गिर ही गया। वो झूल गिरा ना, तो उससे सहारे मैं पकड़ के
रस्सी पकड़ के,
रस्सी नहीं थी, वो कुछ पुल का हिस्सा था, वो मैं पकड़ के 1.5 घंटे तक बीचों बीच पानी में रही।
Now there are multiple loopholes here. The local municipal corporation is claiming that it did not give a go-ahead for the reopening of the bridge, no fitness certificate was issued and no inspection was done. And that's not it. As per the victims, there was no system in place at the site.
एक टिकट लगवाना था और एक एंट्री होते ही टिकट चेक करने वाला था, वही था, 2 लोग थे। वो दोनों लोगों में से किसी ने भी नहीं कहा कि पुल के अंदर इतने लोग जा सकते, इतने 1 घंटा, 1.5 घंटा, 15 मिनट ऐसे रह सकते, ऐसा कुछ नहीं कहा।
An FIR is filed and SIT is formed to investigate the case. Total 9 people have been arrested so far, but all of them are lower rung employees of the private firm. The municipal corporation, on the other hand, is claiming that it wasn't even aware about the reopening of the bridge, and this is what the SIT has to say about investigating this claim.
Regarding the loopholes, our SIT team is taking care all sort of the loopholes which have been committed either by the municipal authorities or by any other agencies. Our team is taking consideration, apart from all these loopholes, the other structural, technical, capacity building, all angles are taken into place, and will come out with the full investigation, and nobody will be spared in the investigation. The action will be the strictest actions will be taken against the culprits.
The local municipal corporation is claiming that it has no idea about the increased capacity of the bridge post the renovation. Now the cops are claiming that no one will be spared, but as of now, no one from the municipal corporation or the top level of the private firm is questioned. In Morbi, with camera person Balbir Singh, this is Santya for CNBC-TV18.
And before we go, Jamshed Irani, fondly known as the Steel Man of India, passed away late last night at the age of 86. He joined Tata Steel in 1968 and stayed at the company for the next 38 years. He took over as managing director in 1992 and played a crucial role in the company's transformation. JJ Irani survived by his wife Daisy Irani and 3 children.